Welcome to Fans of the Forge. I'm Chris. To my left we have
Sean.
To my right we have
Teresa.
And today's special guest we have Drew Goodson. Drew, you're on.
Awesome. Hey.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming. Hey, the youngest Forge and Fire champion here. That's pretty impressive. And we were really glad that you left a message on our video that we had posted on your episode, the Zombie Spear episode. So when we saw that you were one of the first people to leave a comment on any of our videos.
He freaked out.
I saw that, yeah.
Yeah, I lost my shit a little bit. I was like, whoa, what is going on here?
Was that the day? I'm at work. I have a Fitbit watch that the messages come through on. I'm trying to teach, and these two were having a conversation, and I didn't do the do not disturb thing, and my watch is just going off. I'm like, what is going on?
Blew up the watch.
Yeah, we blew up the watch a little bit. But I'm glad we were able to get this together. And we have a couple questions for you here. We'll run through.
Of course.
We'll start right off with the Blade Show. You just went to the Blade Show in Atlanta, right?
I did. The Blade Show was fantastic.
So when you were there, were you going to just check it out to see what it was like? Have you ever been to the Blade Show before?
I went 2 years ago in 2016. That's where I met Jay Nielsen, and I think I met Josh Weston there, a previous victor. And went there with my dad for my birthday, but this year it was just going around, meeting all the people, new victors, new creators, new makers. It was crazy to just walk around for 3 days.
Now, how big is the show? Is it like multiple large convention hall rooms, or is it like...
In Atlanta, we have the Cobb Galleria, and the main convention hall is absolutely massive, but they actually had to expand this year into a smaller ballroom.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, we saw a lot of pictures, and it looked like a heck of a show, and obviously we're very new to the whole community, but that's maybe an eventual goal for us, is to check it out and go down there.
Oh, yeah.
So, let's see. So now, when you're going there and walking around, are you looking for tools? Are you looking for knives that are for sale? Are you just there to meet people and check out what's around?
It's mostly to meet the people there. People like Alex Steele. He was there, and he's one of my heroes. So I got to meet him, and I was also just looking around for ideas, honestly.
Oh, okay, makes sense. So, what would you say is your favorite part of the Blade Show?
Ooh, my favorite part was hanging out with Josh Weston at the Epic booth. It's where all the victors gathered, and we were just hanging out, talking about what we do, trading ideas, trading information. It was an unbelievable experience, talking with people about stuff that you know and most other people don't know about.
Yeah. We can only kind of understand because we don't really know much about it.
Yeah.
We're learning.
Good.
And so you had been there in 2016. So my other question, was this your first time meeting other champions from Forged in Fire? But I have to say, if you were there before, maybe you met some earlier, a couple years back.
I met a few. I didn't quite recognize them, and it was different 2 years ago because they were just like these huge, upstanding, great people that were my heroes. But this year, they were treating me like I was one of their elders. Honestly, people like Walter Sorrells. Oh my lord, that dude is my hero. But he got out on the first round, and I'm a champion, and he was congratulating me on that. It was unbelievable.
Well, that's cool. That's cool to get that sort of respect when you go there. And I mean, you earned it, man. You really kicked ass in your episodes. So for you to get there and get that sort of recognition, I think makes a lot of sense. So let's see here. Who wants to do the next question?
Yeah, I'll do that. So when did you first start blacksmithing or bladesmithing?
It was in the summer of 8th grade. My buddy Kevin, he hit me up and he was like, I've got this little old aluminum grill. Can we make something out of this? Because I know you were talking about knives. Could you make knives? So I went over to his place. We welded in some steel plates and a pipe. And that was my first forge, and that's really when it all started.
Nice. Wow. Cool.
So did you start with a coal forge or a propane forge? But it sounds like you started with a homemade forge.
I did. It was a charcoal old little grill.
Wow.
Okay.
Giving us ideas.
Yeah,
We're looking to build our own thing.
Every person we talk to, it can get more simplistic. Like, oh, yeah, we can handle that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, the specific forge from the show, the Majestic forges, I got mine shipped to my door for like $570.
Yeah, that's not bad.
If you get into this, that's a cheap piece of equipment. Like, oh my gosh, I got a Paragon kiln. The victors from season 1 through season 5, they get a free Paragon kiln.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
And that thing was $2,000 if I wanted to buy it.
Whoa, okay.
So I just got this huge kiln sitting in my garage that's not powered because it just draws so much. I need to install new wires.
Yeah.
So when you got started and you're working with your friend there, what did you do to learn to bladesmith? Did you take any classes, or was it like YouTube and that sort of thing?
I watched YouTube for about 6 years beforehand. Like, I was just gathering information, just soaking it up directly into my brain. People like David Delagardelle, like I said, Alex Steele, Walter Sorrells. I watched their videos for years before I even started, and that really helped when I actually did get started.
Oh, cool.
That's cool. Jason had warned us. He's like, YouTube's good, just be careful, because not everything on YouTube is good.
Yeah, not always correct.
Brandon said that too.
Yeah,
that's definitely true.
It's probably true of most things on YouTube.
Yeah, YouTube's hit or miss.
Well, and then when we interviewed Brandon, he said, by the way, when you're on the show, they don't show the tempering process.
No, they do not. That bothers me greatly.
Right, and it kind of bothered him too, because, or I guess people would follow the show, do exactly like the show, and then their blades would just shatter because they didn't know they needed to temper it, and really.
Exactly. I took time out at my home forge. I took time out and I told the producer that was with me, I said, this part needs to be in the show. This specific little 30-second part of my interview needs to be in the show because tempering is so, so important. You could kill yourself because you didn't temper something correctly.
Right.
It's so dangerous to pull a piece of hardened steel and smack it on a 2x4 because it'll bounce off the ground and go into your gut and you're done because you didn't temper.
Wow.
Yeah, and I figured that, because we noticed on the final round when they're at their home forges, we're like, what happens on day 3 and 4? Right? We're like, they don't show anything happening. It's day 5, and I think that's what it is. They're tempering and taking that that time to do it. So there's nothing to show.
My day 4 was mostly working on the spear shaft, and they had this beautiful shot where it was like the sunset coming up over top of the head and then going and setting all in one day. Just me sitting down and working on a piece of wood that they gave me. Just an entire day dedicated to that.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So sometimes if you don't see a day, it's mostly because we're doing really, really boring work.
Right, just tedious work.
But you have like a camera guy watching you do this boring work all day.
They film it all.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because you never know.
Yeah, true.
Poor Staub, the poor guy.
Let's see. What do we got here?
5.
So when you make stuff, how do you get customers? Do you have many customers that you end up making things for?
I mostly get my customers through Instagram. It used to be like friends and family, but now it's branched out into just crazy eccentric people. There was one guy in Alaska that wanted me to make him 2 matching Bowie knives so he could hunt bears. I'm starting to spread out. I've got some people in Australia that are wanting stuff. I have no idea how to get those in the country, but I'll figure it out the right way.
Yeah. That's cool.
So what equipment do you use regularly, and what type of tool is your favorite to use?
Oh, let's see. I've got the angle grinder, the most dangerous tool ever invented. I've got the 2x72 belt sander. My roommate actually bought that. He's a fellow knife maker. I've got my Majestic forge, the one exactly from the show.
Mm-hmm.
And gosh, what else? I mean, up until recently, when I moved into this house, I didn't even have a real anvil. Like on the show, you can see that
That's right.
I'm
You had
using
a
a friggin' railroad tie.
railroad. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Notice
Like,
that.
Dang, it was. You don't need much to get started. Like a file, a hammer, and a big piece of steel, and another thing to heat it up with.
Right.
Yeah.
So I may have all these tools, but you need to start basic. You need to
Right.
cut yourself up on a knife. You need to really get blisters. You need to get calluses to work up, and you'll actually appreciate the tools that you get later on.
Right. Cool.
So, do you have a specific material that you like to work with, a specific grade of steel, and also a specific type of blade you like to make?
Actually, I have one that I just started. It's actually the steel and the blade type. It's 80 CRV2. It's like 1080 steel, but I think it has a little bit more vanadium. It makes it easier to heat treat, that kind of thing. And I have this little design. It's called a Hornet.
Ooh, okay.
And it's just a little tiny itty bitty concealed knife, little Warncliffe style tip. It's got a hollow grind on it.
Nice.
Oh yeah.
So it's just itty bitty knife. I sell these for $150. I make a sheath that will fit in your pocket. It's just simple utilitarian stuff.
Cool.
Makes me think of that Markita.
Oh yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, he has this little karambits that he likes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you ever watch the video ad that he put together for those when he first came out with them?
I think so. I watched his stuff before I even knew that he was on the show. I think it was before he was even on the show.
Oh
It's
yeah.
like, oh, this dude's so cool.
Yeah, it was a heck of a video, that's for
He
sure.
was talking about. Oh, there was weren't there ducks in the background or something? There was something weird.
There was some stuff about how when he was a kid he would play with sharp objects, and we're like, what?
So what?
Yeah.
Let's see. What do we got?
Number 8.
So how long is it? Well, how long does it normally take you to make a blade from design to completion? The Hornet. How long does that thing take?
I could crank out 3 Hornets in 2 days. I know because I've done it before, but I don't really appreciate that quality or that grade of work.
Right.
I try to actually spend a lot of unnecessary time on my knives. That sounds odd because I'm running a business, but it's better to push myself and take a week to make one knife that I'm happy with and that I'd like to put my name on than it is to crank out 3 Hornets in 2 days. I mean,
Right.
they work, they'll function longer than you will, but I'd like higher quality, and it takes more time.
So if someone wanted a buoy, you'd say probably about a week time.
Well, I don't tell them a week's time. I tell them, okay, I've got a 6-month lead time because
Right.
stuff happens. I've got stuff on the books right now. I've got a few knives that I've never made before. I actually have the steel on my table in front of me. So I try to tell people it's going to take time.
Yeah. Okay.
Do you make anything besides blades? Or just
Actually, I was talking to a client today. I'm doing architectural work now, doing trim pieces, electrical covers. You want something for his door handles, something. It's just a lot of stuff. It's my biggest project ever, and that's where the bread and butter of blacksmithing is making those artistic things instead of knives.
Right.
Yeah. All right, I'm going to skip around here, guys.
Okay.
So, I was scrolling through your Instagram today,
Oh Lord.
and I came across some interesting pictures that I really liked, actually. I'm a huge fan of Fallout, and I just happened to see an old picture of a Pip-Boy and a laser rifle that you had put together.
Okay.
So, are you a big Fallout fan? Is that why you were making those?
Yes. Actually, I freaked out when I found out that Fallout 76 was coming out soon. I lost my mind. But yeah, the laser rifle was my dive into prop making. I wanted to get into that for a while. It's just, if I can make something, I'm happy. But prop making was going to be my thing for a little bit. Didn't work out because I wasn't pushing myself into it. The Pip-Boy was a kit that I put together and painted myself. It's a cool one-off thing to do.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm a big fan. When I saw Fallout 76, and I was like, "Oh, this is gonna be cool. This is gonna be cool."
Yes.
So I also noticed there's a couple pictures of a PlayStation, a VR headset, and a regular PlayStation Pro. So are you a big gamer?
I am. Yeah.
What are some other games that you like?
Oh Lord, I'm gonna sound like a 12-year-old, but my roommate and I have gotten into Minecraft recently. That's like, we just build anything we want. I was in Witcher a lot.
Okay.
Gosh, I've got to make stuff from The Witcher soon because there's beautiful work in there.
Oh yeah.
What else? Played Far Cry recently, Far Cry 5.
Oh okay. Yeah.
I burnt myself out on that. I played like 7 hours in one day because I was off work. I just didn't play it after that. I don't think there's anything else.
No
Try the
Fortnite?
new Mass Effect. Didn't like that. Yeah, Andromeda was not a good game. 3 was good. Andromeda, nah.
Yeah, I've my most recent ones. What was it? I think I didn't play Far Cry 5, but I played the last one, and that one was actually
Primal?
pretty. Far Cry 4.
Yeah. There was one in between 4 and 5. It was Primal. Yeah. 4 was
Primal.
really good. I loved it.
I didn't play Primal. I played the one before that, and that was a fun one too. And then I actually bought my PlayStation specifically for Fallout 4 when it got announced. Like I went and got a PlayStation. But yeah, I'm totally down. I can't wait to see more information about Fallout 76.
Dude, multiplayer is gonna be nuts.
Yeah, I can't wait to launch my first nuke, man. That's gonna be cool.
Oh my gosh. My roommate and I have already started talking about how we're gonna just sit there and shoot people as they spawn. I mean, it's just gonna
Camper,
people.
man.
It's gonna be fun. There you go.
Okay.
All right, so switching gears, have you ever competed in any professional chopping contests?
No, I have not. I'm not quite adept with using the tools that I make. I need to get more into it. I want to do cutting competitions. At Blade, I actually was invited to go to a school to learn specifically about that. That's too far away. The 10 grand doesn't stretch that far.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you'll hear about that whole thing later about the 10 grand. Yeah, I really want to learn how to do that. I just haven't yet.
So would your end game maybe be to compete in Knife or Death?
I think that would be a great show to be on. It's so much different than the regular Forged in Fire. I mean, first off, if I ever got into that, I'd be able to show what my work could really do because you get to take time on your weapon there. I mean, my buddy Josh Weston, he was happy to spend time on his weapon to go on there.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And then you get Goldberg yelling all the time.
Yeah.
I had no idea who Goldberg was for a little bit. Oh, we all good?
Yeah, we're good.
Sorry, my phone just said 20%. So
Oh
man.
yeah, iPhones, they're fantastic.
Did you do any specific like practice or training before you went on the show?
I did. I trained with Josh Weston. You're going to hear about him a lot. He's a really good friend of mine, and he helped me a lot through the process. He told me about things that I need to look for, challenges that are probably going to crop up, things that they say in the background, like the fact that you have to listen to what they say when you're working, because they'll be talking about how you're stupid and you're wrong and you need to change this, but they won't say it to your face because they're not allowed to.
Right. Let's see here. What else do we have?
The last one.
The last one. Okay, so you currently in college at Louisiana Tech, is that right?
I do not, actually.
Oh, you
I
don't?
used to.
You used to?
No, I used to. I decided to try knife making full time, and the college was just not working out for me.
Ah,
And
gotcha.
I honestly just hated it.
Oh, okay.
Well,
that kind of led to my next question was if you were,
Yeah.
then how was that working out with your knife making schedule? But it sounds like
It wasn't.
it wasn't. And you know what? When Teresa here, she teaches at a tech school, and so like that's there for teaching
Trades.
trades and the skills that people need
yes.
to be able to not necessarily have to go to college. So
I love that. Oh,
if you can
that's
do
brilliant. I
something
love it.
and you can build your own business, on your own like that, that's fantastic, and that's something to be applauded nowadays because there's not enough people that are skilled at doing stuff.
Yes, props to you for teaching at a trade school. Oh my Lord, we need more of them. We need more people going to them because that's really where the money's at today.
All right, I got a few more questions I came up with.
Oh yeah.
So on your episode, you guys had to do Damascus, and I want to know, how much did you know about Damascus at that point?
I've only made Damascus a few times, actually. I didn't practice to make Damascus. I wasn't prepared. It's not something that I usually do, but I know the process. I know it's not some mythical substance. It's just forge welds. That's it.
Right.
It was more difficult than I expected on the show, but I got through it.
Right. Did it worry you at all once you saw that, like, oh, you guys gonna make Damascus?
I figured it would happen. You don't go into season 5 not doing Damascus.
On the episode we just reviewed, they had to do Damascus with rusty nuts and bolts, and it's yeah,
the wire wheel and an angle grinder. That's how you go about that.
Oh, okay. See, I don't know if any of them did. These were all guys that had like max, I think, was 3 years of part-time experience.
Oh my Lord!
So like they were all thrown to the wolves with this one.
I mean, some knew about put the white out in the can first, and throw the stuff in there, throw some powder in there, make sure it welds well. But a couple had trouble with it. Two guys started over with an hour left.
Oh yeah, 3 of them started over. 2 with an hour left.
Yeah, so that's a fun episode. You should watch that one.
Yeah. Ooh man, I would not like that.
Yeah. It was crazy. Just buckets of nuts and bolts they were given. Will you add a pocket tape measure to your outfit like Dave Baker has? He's got that little handy pocket tape. He just pulls out.
I might. That might be a good idea. I don't know. Just because I can.
Do you normally forge with the vest?
I actually the vest, I bought that specifically for the show, but the button down, I'll forge in a button down. There's no problem with that. I mean, I have to make sure it's like closed up top because gosh, scale on your chest is just
no good.
Hell.
And the last thing I had.
All right.
So probably the most infamous part of the episode, when you took your knife and pried on that grass. Come on, man.
All right. So think of it from a knife maker's perspective, where we need to make sure the things we make work. I was planning going in. I knew I was going to hold out the blade in front of me and drop it in front of the judges, tip first on the second round. It's just something that you do. It's kind of ballsy, but you need to know it works. And I was like, I could just skip that. And if I can pry this apart and there's no problem, I'll be good. Obviously, I wasn't good. I'm glad I did it, though. Can you imagine if that had broken off in the oil can stab? That would have been awful. I've been kicked out.
Would the tempering have helped that out? I mean, at that point...
It was a D-lam right in the center of my blade. Most people you can't see it in the episode, but there's right in the center of my blade. All the way down, there's a D-lam.
All right.
It worked out fine for me.
You were looking at it like, why would you do that? That's
and you've got to abuse the things you make. If you don't, then you'll never improve.
Another tidbit to remember, Sean. We do get our forge going.
Beat it.
So the other question here that you did mention that we didn't write down, but we do have to ask you, what did you do with the $10,000?
All right. First off, taxes. Taxes are, taxes. They're inevitable, just like death. I just set aside $4,000 for taxes because I live in Louisiana and they're worse here than most places. Then Blade Show was coming up. I had a few of my friends graduating in Georgia, and I had just wrecked my car like a month earlier. So I had no car to my name, and I was driving I was driving a family member's car, and I just drove to Georgia, and 3 hours in, the brakes broke on that car going down I-20, going 70. So
Oh man.
I woke up on my birthday, bought a car, and drove to Georgia. Let's see, I bought a lot of ammo. I'm a big firearms guy. I bought like $600 worth of ammo. Yeah. Ooh, man, I'm ready to go shoot it too. Bought some handle material, got some stuff from Blade Show, little things, but mostly it's like paying rent, paying bills,
Yeah.
paying insurance, that nasty stuff that we all have to go through.
Yep.
And the 10 grand doesn't stretch as far as most people think it does. And taxes in a car, boom, most of it's gone.
Yeah.
Hey, well, if you go on Knife or Death and you win, you get 20 grand.
I know, that would be amazing.
Isn't it like 10 grand first, and then you get the 20 at the end also? So like 30 altogether?
No,
or is it
it's
20 altogether?
The first
10 and 10.
episodes of the season, nobody gets anything.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
Yeah, so
Okay.
they save money in that show. Like they're screwing us over because every episode in Fortune Fire we get 10 grand, which is nothing, by the way, when you're sitting in that room full of tools and all that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, 10 grand is like 1 day's worth of work for all the crew members. But in Knife or Death, they get one episode, or one entire season is just a 20 grand payout. They're making a killing over there.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, especially because it's a pre-made set that's not changing. They're buying maybe the fish and the chicken, the buckets.
You reuse the sand.
I mean,
Right. The ice, you gotta get a block of ice once in a while.
reuse the sand.
You just sweep it up in the dustpan and you dump it in the next crate.
I don't know. They get some high quality stuff. Like Travis Wirtz's tools are fantastic. I mean, I can't believe they bought four of his belt sanders. Oh my lord, those are expensive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ugh. Can't even think about buying one of those.
Yeah. Those I've heard. Was it Brandon? I think that maybe spoke of them.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
it's
think
high
so.
quality sanders they have there.
Yeah, Travis Wirtz is an interesting guy. If you ever go to Blade Show, go to his booth immediately. If he's holding a cup, it has something else in it. He's just a cool guy. The first time I met him, he came up and he was obviously hungover. It was the second day of Blade Show, and he comes up to me and he's like, "How you doing, man? You look real good. I like your work." What? I was standing next to Jay Nielsen, and we just like looked at each other like, what is this dude on? But yeah, he turned out to be a really nice guy. I like talking with him.
Oh, cool. Well, I think that's about it for our questions. Do you have...
I had one.
Oh, you got more?
Sean's
One
not
other
done.
thing.
Do it.
Sean's not
Ask
on the list,
away.
but so I think what you commented on our review episode about I'm sorry, I can't remember the guy's name that you went up against.
Jason.
It's Jason. So his
Yes.
handle, I thought, was fatter, and that's kind of according to what Will said. It
'cause
didn't meet the
fit in
parameters.
thing. Yeah.
It's because it couldn't go in this little cannon there. But you say it was actually warped from shipping.
This is one of the touchy areas of the contract. I can tell you the spear shaft was of the correct diameter.
Yeah.
That's what I can tell you. They made sure of that. I can't tell you how. I can't tell you when.
Mm-hmm.
They made sure that it is the correct diameter. Listen to what I'm saying. It's the correct diameter.
Yep.
It would fit down. And listen to this again. Again, I would trust Jason to make sure that spear left his shop straight.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So a spear that is the correct diameter and left his shop straight. That's where I'm going to leave it.
Message received.
Yeah.
We got you.
Yes, I didn't say anything about problems occurring in different processes leading up to the show, but things happen.
I mean, unfortunately, Will says it. The parameter was had to be 2.5. I don't know if you say cross section or something like that.
Yeah.
It's a 1.5 diameter. This is something I can talk about. We received a very strict set of instructions. I think I have the paper, but it has a picture of the weapon, and it has all of diameters and all of the dimensions marked out, and it's a very hard 1.5 inches. They said on the show at least 1.5, and that was very misleading. They should not have done that, just like they should talk about tempering. But it was a very hard 1.5 diameter that he and I were both made aware of, and I know that he stuck to that because he just does good work.
Right. If you're gonna be in the final round, you're gonna make damn sure that you follow the parameters.
Yeah, he did a really good job on that piece. I think it's a beautiful, beautiful spear. I'm glad that he has it in his possession now.
Oh, okay. That's good. That's good to hear.
So I want to apologize to Jason then, because I was saying, how could you screw that up? Like, how could you fuck it up? That's like,
it seems like that on the show. They showed a clip where it was obviously not done, and it was very big, and it was oblong, and it kind of foreshadowed the fact that, it's a 1.5, right? At least. So
right, and he was like,
they foreshadowed it, made him look like a fool when they shouldn't have. But I know he does good work, and he'll keep doing good work.
Right. And I saw he was hand cutting it, and I was like, well, why wouldn't you be more careful about it? But so, my bad, Jason, you're good, man.
He gets a lot of crap for it, and I make sure to stand up for him because I know he's a good dude. Some of his friends give me crap, and he stands up for me because it's just how we are. We aren't gonna dog in each other. That's how the first few seasons of Forge and Fire were. But they realized it's a camaraderie. It's a community. We're all trying to make each other better makers.
Well, that's what. So when we interviewed Brandon, he's like, the producers would yell, "Go back to your station if you guys are, helping each other out." Like, you're like, you guys can't help each other. Like, go back to your workstation. Like,
No, that definitely changed. Gosh, it was. This is one scene that they didn't put in, and I'm so glad they didn't. But this is the first time it'll be out in public. Daniel, the dude with the other guy with the cowboy hat.
Yeah.
I was looking at his blade in the second round, like it was on his anvil, and I walked up to it. And I was checking it out. I'm like, that's some good work. That'll cut something. And he's like, you want to hold it? All right. I'm 18 and I have no brain. I'll hold this weapon. So I held it, and then Will was like, hey! Oh, crap. Will's legit. Like, he jumps from helicopters and kills people, man. Like, he's ex-Green Beret.
Oh, yeah.
And he'll scare you if he just looks at you wrong.
Oh, cool.
Well, all right, that's all my questions.
That's our questions. Do you have any questions or anything you wanted to tell us or our new viewers that have started to follow us lately?
I mean, I'm just surprised at how fast the show's grown. Y'all are like 150 followers on Instagram right now.
220.
Right? Jeez, man.
It blew up 2 days ago before we interviewed Jason Knight.
Thank you, Jason Knight.
We were at 40 Instagram followers, and it was a lot of like kind of random knife accounts that were like aggregator accounts. And then it blew up when we interviewed him. So a lot of props to Jason for helping give us some exposure.
I was follower number 7.
Yeah, you were there. You were right there with us.
OG.
Subscriber number 5 or something. I'm impressed with how fast y'all have grown. I really hope you grow more because there's not many like fan bases for this show. I mean, it's mostly just knife makers watching it and people that want to get into knife making or people just think it's cool. But there's nobody that really talks about it, that analyzes it like you do, and I think that's fantastic.
It was kind of surprising when we started it, too.
Yeah, like we didn't know what was going to come of it, but hey, we thank you for the compliment there. We really appreciate it.
Of course.
And well, thank you for giving us the time to interview you, and we'll probably get this one out in a few days. And
all right.
That's the show. Everybody follow Drew. Did you have a name for your forge? I know you go by Drew the Smithy on Instagram.
That's what it is right now. I'm considering changing it to DG Steelworks, but right now it's Drew_the Smithy.
Got it. So make sure you follow Drew and check out his work. And again, if you want to talk to him about getting a knife done. He does a lot of it through Instagram, so hit him up there. Thanks everybody for watching, and we will catch you on the next one. Bye-bye.